All right, 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the October 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Springfield Police Advisory Committee meeting to order. So they can call the roll.
Counselor Weber, Eric Adams,
Here.
Cindy Koza, here, Carla Berg, here, Terry Dillon, here, Adam Jenkins,
Here.
Daniel Davidson,
Here.
Joshua Aguilar, Brett Yancey,
Here. Can you hear me?
here.
Oh, so because he answered here.
Yeah, I'm here. Here I am.
That's great. Yeah, I'll be able to hear it. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Can you hear us, Brett? Good. Great. All right.
Oh, one
And Josh is here.
Okay, moving on then to minutes approval. So minutes of the August 7th meeting were in our packet for tonight. So everyone had a chance to review those. Okay. Any edits, modifications? Good, Terry. Good. Call for a motion for approval then. I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll second. Okay. All right, all those in favor, raise your hand. And aye. Those opposed? Seeing none. Approved unanimously. Thank you. Business from the audience. Anyone like to provide comments to the committees?
Oh, Jonathan's here now too, as well.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, hello.
Not have any requests to speak in person, and we have no attendees.
You're good. We'll move on then to item 5, business from Springfield PD. Chief Rush.
All right, so I think the last time we talked, I was talking about doing interviews for deputy chief. So we did the interviews, we had some great candidates, and it was fantastic that George Crawley actually was selected. So we had outside folks on our panel, and George did an outstanding job. He's been here, as everybody knows, for a very long time. So I think everybody will be very happy. I'll bring him to either the next meeting or the meeting after that. I mean, I think everybody knows him, but I'll give him the opportunity to introduce himself as the deputy chief. He's been enjoying himself on vacation for the last 2 weeks, so he'll be ready to go when he gets back. But it'll be wonderful to have a deputy chief and take on some of those roles and everything. So happy about that. We just got our newest canine. I don't think there's any pictures out of him yet, but Yuli is his name. Officer Cardwell will be the new handler. So Officer O'Leary and why am I blanking out on his part? Kirby. Officer O'Leary is going to go back and be a detective, and Kirby is going to enjoy retirement. So Kirby's probably 8-ish, I think. And so that's about the time when it's really starting to get hard on them, and they deserve a really good, happy, long retirement. So we'll have pictures and training will start and everything, but Yuli is our newest canine officer. And then the next piece that I'm going to talk about kind of goes into some of like our review, policy review. Our jail is going through the accreditation process right now. The PD went through it a couple years ago. Tiffany is well versed on both of these. She's done a ton of work for the jail accreditation. Our inspection is on October 29th. So I think we're just about all set for that. There's a lot of stuff you have to go through and things you have to get ready and prove that you're doing all of these things to meet the accreditation standards. And one of them is the jail policy manual. So that's one of the things that was handed out to you guys to see if there were questions or certain things that you wanted to discuss about that manual. Certain things probably, you know, how mail is delivered is probably not super exciting for everybody, but I mean, it goes into that level. It's like 400 and some pages long. So I didn't expect you all to read it before you got here today. But if there were certain sections that you wanted to go over, if you had any questions, we can set that schedule up. I just wanted you to have the whole manual available because it is new. So.
Flock stuff on the website.
Yes, so all of the information related to our flock cameras is up on the website. The cameras are not currently on. But the location of where they are and our policy and the frequently asked questions and the transparency portal has all been loaded onto the website. So you can get it through, if you log on to the SPD website, there's a link. So if anybody has any questions about the manual, I wasn't sure like this group, how you wanted to do that, or if you're fine, just like, okay, we have the opportunity, we can look through it. If we have any questions, later, like I said, it's a big manual. But I'll leave it up to the group to how you kind of wanted to go through it, or if it is of interest. Yeah.
I have a question
Yeah.
about, and I didn't read all of it, but
Well, I was confused.
flow charts always grabbed my
Yeah.
attention. And so I was just curious on the flow chart you have in there, how much, obviously you don't have it fully filled in right now.
Right.
And I didn't know, is that still the long-term plan to fill that in with all the lieutenants, like the lieutenant over the jail?
Oh, the org chart that's in there, yeah, so.
E5.
Right, so right now, the lieutenant that was over the jail, that was Lieutenant Rapay when he retired. Lieutenant Crawley took that over. Georgia's gonna keep the detention side for right now as the deputy chief. It will fall directly under him. And we're considering how we want to, or if we want to make organizational structures to that, but George will keep that direct oversight over him. Or under him. And then we're still trying to like fill the detention officer positions. We need 2, we will need 3 by the end of the year. Yeah.
By the end of the year, you said?
By the end of the year, we have 2 current openings and we have 1 anticipated retirement by the end of the year. Mhm. So the detention position has been one of the hardest to fill since I've been here.
Why is that so difficult?
It's just really hard to find people who want to do that work. What we really need is female detention officers, and they're very hard to find.
Mm.
We've done all female recruitments, and we haven't been able to find anybody who was able to make it through the process. And yeah, it's been hard. Yeah. So we did a lateral recruitment since I've been here. We got 2 successful applicants out of that. So we are going to do another round of openings for police officer, detention officer, lateral police officer, and lateral detention officer. So those will be coming up in the next probably 6 weeks or so.
And then with DC Crawley now being his position, is he still overseeing investigations? Because he was the lieutenant over.
No, so Sergeant James Wilson is now the acting incapacity lieutenant of the
Okay,
detention,
great.
or sorry, of detectives, investigations, yeah.
Sounds good.
So, and right now with our staffing at officer level, in order for me to promote into upper ranks, it requires me to draw from the officer level. Like, I have to get a sergeant, and then if I need a lieutenant, that draws from the sergeant ranks, all the way it trickles down.
Sure.
And we don't have the staffing to pull from operations right now from patrol. So some of these upper level will remain vacant. People will be acting, people have additional responsibilities until I can get patrol, because that's our core function, fully up and staffed or more staffed. Some of those positions will remain vacant.
What's our staffing level on the patrol now, and what do you want it to be?
Well, I would love it if we were fully staffed. We're authorized 69. That's sworn all the way from the chief all the way down. But we're sitting with about 10-ish vacancies. And so that's where the biggest impact is. We have a bunch of people in the process right now. So I'm hopeful that we will have some new hires pretty soon. But even if all of those folks make it through, it wouldn't fill everything. So that's why we need to start another process. Yeah.
So this is still on the, I guess is on the agenda. Next business item, just in terms of review and feedback, but further discussion about this at that time, or
If we want to do it now, we can do it now. If anybody else has,
I didn't hear what you said. Feedback on what?
on the policy manual, it's.
it's down there for
Committee
review.
discussion.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I
okay.
jumped on that too, and just kind of how you wanted to do it, or if there's just certain sections. And you guys can, like I said, you just got it a few days ago. So if you want to think about that, come back at the next meeting and be like, okay, these are the topics that we think we'd like to review.
To do that because I haven't been able to read. I
Yeah.
read the first little bit of it, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah, and I'm not expecting you to read all four hundred
I
and some
would read
pages.
every single.
It'll
one.
probably be
Then when you're
really
gonna do
good.
that is come back here and give the.
If you have trouble sleeping, it will probably be really
Okay.
helpful.
So like the other policies that we review at the meetings just periodically, so is this as critical for the department retaining its accreditation?
So it's a bit separate. So the police department goes through an accreditation through an organization, and then the jail has a separate one. So the policy manual, we had to update a bunch of things. We had to do what's called like standards and proofs, basically showing that we meet the standards and then proving that we meet the standards. So one of them was to go back through and update our jail policy manual. So there are things in it that we've had to change, add, modify, that kind of stuff. But yeah, and the jail has this whole policy manual, and then they still have to abide by anything that's applicable in the other manual or in our other policies as well. But jail has very specific stuff that applies just to having, adults in custody.
And technically, being a municipal jail, we don't have to be accredited,
Correct.
but being the largest municipal jail in the state, it was something that NIWR and council really wanted to see happen. And we started the process about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We're finally getting there.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
So when they walk through, they're looking for like violations of that or?
Well, first off, starting yesterday, there's a application called Power DMS where there's 313 standards. And we had to have written directives for each one of those 313 standards. That's where the policy manual comes in. And then we have to have a proof for each one of those, whether it be as simple as proving that we have showers. So picture of the showers.
Okay.
So we had to have proofs, and some of them have like 20 bullets and you have to have a proof for each one.
Yeah.
So we've been working on getting all the standards and proofs in there. And so they started reviewing them through this whole month. There's an accreditation team that reviews the application. And then on the 29th, they come do a physical inspection. And pretty much we've had that part done before. They come around and they ask questions. They'll talk to some of the adults in custody and then look around for making sure that we have what we say we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big process. I mean, it'll be a big accomplishment when we get it done to, like Tiffany said, it's not something that we have to do, but it's a really good thing to have.
Formatting question for the document, is there a table of contents or a?
It's not something I've tackled.
Run it through chat and ask it to rate you the table of content.
That can help us.
Yeah,
How much
well,
we-
there's section A through I. So yeah, and some of the sections are a lot bigger, like E is huge. And probably H is kind of small. It's just, yeah. Something maybe now that I'm done doing all that, maybe I will make a table of contents for it. It's just.
Yeah, if you could, I think it'd be just from my perspective, help us kind of prioritize, and determine which sections we can focus on first. So,
And this, I mean, obviously, we are going to have the jail policy manual, so it's not something we have to discuss at the next meeting. We can wait until we can get, like the table of contents.
When I
But-
originally thought about doing this, I thought about breaking up in here's section A, here's section B. But our last meeting, we needed to talk about the license plate readers, so I kind of put it off. And then with this coming up, I thought, well, I'll just give you the whole document, see what you think.
It's been.
I know.
So table that for maybe our next meeting, should be December.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So-
Further discussion or questions on that topic? No, all right, I guess we'll bounce back into the annual report presentation to council. So Tiffany and I were at the September 22nd city council meeting to give the 2024 annual report to council. We're appreciative of the information that we provided. There's a whole lot of questions that I can recall, just expression of gratitude for us being on the committee, and we updated them on upcoming vacancies and the process for filling those. It's pretty quick.
Thank you for doing that.
Sure.
Okay, and for vacancies, we have Carla, Adam, and Jonathan's terms are expiring at the end of this year. They're all eligible for another term. Adam and Carla have declined to apply for another term, so we thank them for what they've been doing, but you still have to come to December. Jonathan applied and we had 6 other applications for the 3 positions. One was in the UGB, so they weren't eligible.
Urban growth boundary, not.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We talk in this. So October 27th, the 6 applicants will be interviewed by council, so. And I mean, if you guys want to attend council, you can, to see how that goes. I think it's done in a work session.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to our last item, right?
Yeah.
Chair. Chair, so let's see. Josh. Like, yeah, I'll help everyone start. I don't have any.
I've just enjoyed seeing, enjoyed the interaction with different officers on regular ride along, but I don't have anything that really stands out in the last 2 months as far as happenings that would involve the faith community.
We did have, it was the block party. So for those of you that were there, I did recall seeing several people, so thank you. It was a great, it was a good event.
Since our last meeting.
Yeah, I was gonna say it that.
Yeah, I did.
7 years
it.
ago.
My kids enjoyed meeting the llama. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Caesar the llama.
Drama llama.
Really enjoyed that. Yeah, because that has been since our last
Yeah.
meeting, and no, I thought that was great as far as exposure to the community, good relationship building. And good to see you there, Chief.
Oh, yeah.
Interacting, a lot of the command staff, the dunk tank. Was a big ad.
Oh, yeah, that was National Night Out. The block party though, did you go to that
I
too?
think the block party, I was talking about that, yeah.
The National
that-
Night Out. The 2 events, yeah, that
Yeah.
were pretty big. The
Mhm.
block party is the city one, and that was, I think we were just saying it was even bigger than last year. And then I think National Night Out was really good at Family, good venue.
Yeah.
I sold a lot of beer.
I bet.
Cindy.
Yeah, I actually have a story to share with one of the clients here in Thurston. So we had a situation where one of our clients had been taken to the emergency room several times that week for being mentally unstable. We felt like he was suicidal, been evaluated. Anyways, it was a Saturday and he had locked himself in the bathroom with the water running and we couldn't get in and he wasn't responding and the staff thought he had brought a knife in there with him. And so we were really kind of getting freaked out. So we called Cahoots and they seemed frustrated that we called them, but we waited 45 minutes and nobody showed up. So then we called them again and I think they automatically called the cops or something, but then we waited like another, I want to say 30 or 40 minutes for a police officer to show up. So Cahoots never did show up, but when the officers came, they said, well, I was present and I said, well, can we just push through the door? And the officer says, if we do that and we interpret that the client is charging at us, we will have to shoot him. And I was like, what? Like, we're talking like this guy is developmentally disabled. There's no guns here. And like, I think there's some other options we could have besides like defaulting to like shooting. And he was very adamant, like policies had changed. And I was trying to ask him like, well, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, I own the property. I can probably like get my husband to unlock this door, but he wasn't available. Anyways, it was a big back and forth and the officers were very professional and kind in a lot of ways, but I was just kind of shocked, like they brought that up several times. And eventually we were able to get the client to come out and then they like tackled him and we got him into the vehicle and he was resisting and stuff. But you know, I was just kind of concerned, like, what are the policies then if like they interpret someone charging at them, like with
No,
the shoot?
I don't know exactly what he said, but probably what they're referring to is I don't know exactly when, it's been several months ago now, there was a court decision that came out of Las Vegas about use of force, officers using force against people for basically police officer holds. So there's no crime, you're trying to take them into custody because being a danger to themselves. And the first thing that, when you said that, I'm sure they're focusing on the fact you thought he took a knife in there. So what they're probably trying to tell you is if he comes at us with this knife, and then, but we have no crime, right? So we're trying to get in somewhere to possibly use force against someone who has committed no crime. And so the officers are very, very cognizant right now of not trying to use force in those situations and trying to work their way through not having to use force in those situations because there is no crime. And so when you end up hurting someone while you're trying to help someone, it puts them in a really difficult position. So I'd have to talk with the officer a little bit more about exactly what he was thinking. But just based on what you're saying, I am interpreting that's probably the thought process they
I
were
mean,
going through.
we thought he had taken like a butter knife from the kitchen and we had explained that, but he hadn't been threatening people and I mean, I just feel like I felt safe enough to like open the door if I could, you know, if I had
Yeah.
the tools to like get in there. And they weren't even allowing me as the property owner to enter. And so I don't know, it really freaked everybody out because the clients are all developmentally disabled. There's very like young, sensitive caregivers there. And it was a situation where we're like, maybe he needs help. And then here we've been waiting an hour. We can't help this person. And so it was delayed because they were also like, they decided they had to wait for a supervisor to show up. So like the officers came and then they were just like waiting for a very long time for a supervisor to show up. And in that time, we were able to get the client out.
Yeah.
But so anyways, yeah, I was just kind of wondering what those policies were and
We haven't had any policy changes per se. There's been some like legal rulings, and so the officers and supervisors are still trying to work through, you know, what that means when we show up on those calls. Cause again, there's no crime there for us to like take an action to do something against this person. And maybe they are a threat to themselves or a threat to others. But you're gonna see that more where if somebody's just a danger, maybe to themselves and they're
Mhm.
contained into a room or something like that, rather than use force on them, the officers are going to choose to leave. Just because again, it's not something that we're not preventing a crime, no crime has occurred. And so if they're like locked in a room and they're saying, I'm gonna hurt myself, but they're saying, if you come in, I'm going to fight
well,
you.
he wasn't responding,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm
So,
just trying to say
yeah.
that the policy, it's all the changes
Right.
that they're trying to work through right now.
Okay.
And so I'll talk with you about like who it was or whatever.
Yeah, I was just really worried because if he needed help, there was like, we waited over an hour for like, between cahoots and officers, like to even help this person. And, it's someone who can't hardly read or write. And, I just felt really terrible in that situation. And then when they were saying shooting, I was like, oh my God, what are we talking about
Yeah.
shooting here? So anyways, that was just like a boots on the ground experience that I had last week-ish, I think, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago. But yeah, but then they ended up being able to take him to the hospital and the hospital just like almost immediately discharged him. So I
Yeah,
mean,
we
it's just
talked
this like a
about that.
cycle,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's just where, we're at right now, the community
Yeah.
with that kind of stuff, but.
Yeah, and that's hard too, because, the officers, if they have to use force on someone, they take them to the hospital and then they get released and then they come right back to you. And so it's not a real
Yeah.
good process right now.
But on a positive note, I shared months ago that I say positive note, but it was an embezzlement case. But the positive note is that the detective has like continued to follow up with our company and has provided really great support.
Good.
I think I say his name wrong, Anton?
Anton.
Oh, okay. He's been great and he like found the employee in the Bahamas and he
Wow.
called her and he actually got her to confess over the phone to him. And I was like, dude, this guy is like, gets a bonus or something. That's awesome.
Probably wants a trip to the Bahamas.
Yeah, go get her.
I want to go take that
So
person.
that was great. He was super awesome to have him do that. So
Did you get money back?
well, there's like grand jury stuff that has to
Yeah.
happen next, and it's a whole thing. Oh my gosh. But yeah, at least that part of it has been great. Cause I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna forget. And
Yeah.
because it's been months, and then no, it's like always a positive, great, update that he's on it and doing the follow-ups and stuff. So
Good.
yeah.
Jonathan, anything for you?
Nope, nothing for me. I have noticed a larger presence as far as traffic and just the presence of Springfield officers, as well as their professionalism on different accident scenes and things that we respond to on the engine or the on the ambulance. So, bravo. I have nothing else to report.
Great, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carla.
So the last time we met, there was a community member who talked about an issue that he was having on North 32nd Street with the neighboring cars. And I chimed in that I'm on South 32nd, although I didn't clarify I was not near him. And that there's a lot of what sounds, I haven't watched it, but it sounds like racing and things like that. And ever since then, so I've been more mindful about like, when does this happen? And it's generally evening and overnight. During the day, not an issue. And this morning I was walking the dog and it was when all the kids were getting ready to go to school and their parents were taking them to the bus stop. And I was struck by how grateful I am that whoever those people are who are doing that regularly are not doing it when the kids are out. But to Jonathan's point, I've also seen a larger presence around Springfield. So I just want to kind of bring it up that there is a lot being a couple times a week. People going very fast down 30 seconds. So if a cop just wanted to hang out. they
So
could-
between Maine and Jasper?
Yes. So yeah, that's what I got.
No.
Jerry.
There's nothing going on in Washburn. I just think we've just all quieted down. Just hunkered down.
What stays that way.
Yeah.
Adam?
Not much. I do regret not going to the block party with the family to the Matt Carney concert, which was kind of fun.
Oh, that would be good too.
But we've been going to the Thurston football games. And great to see the SROs there. It's just kind of fun seeing the kids, get to know Officer Amundsen, and I always forget the other guy's name.
Newton.
Newton, thank you. And just seeing them interact with the kids, and they completely respect them, and it's just kind of fun seeing them entertain with those kids. It's been good. I know the Springfield game is this Friday, which there's always something that happens there. So hopefully people will be a little more calmer.
Yeah, Matt and Alan are both back in the full swing with school starting and stuff this last month. So I checked in with both of them and they're like, yep, school's back. But they're really good at it, so they love it.
Looks like Brett had to sign off.
I think we should have had him go first. He said he had to leave
Oh,
early.
did he? For me in Lane, let's see, just related to school starting, I would say we've had fewer issues in relation to our adjacent parks to the high schools than we typically do this time of year, which has been great. Awesome to have Officer Newton back at Springfield, and definitely appreciate the collaboration we've had with both SROs and the school district the last couple of weeks, because we've had some student protests and some other campus related disturbances that kind of spilled over to the adjacent neighborhoods. We had good communication and collaboration with them. Next week or maybe the week after, the crisis intervention training. Really
The 8th, I
appreciate it.
think, maybe?
Is it next week?
Wait,
Maybe it is
those
next
are
week.
21st.
there's two different ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's two different ones, yeah.
Either way,
Uh-huh.
our Alan Klein, our park ranger supervisor, got our staff lined up and will be attending that. So thank you for the invitation. That's great.
Absolutely.
Really excited to have that opportunity. And then another point of coordination between us and the city right now, which is kind of an increasing topic of awareness, I think, throughout the country, is e-bikes and e-mobility devices. So understand that we may be helping with production of a video to help educate and maybe encourage a little bit smarter and respectful use of those devices on our streets and multi-use paths. So not sure if the department's looped in on that, but I guess Public Works is taking the lead.
I will talk, I know Lieutenant Myers has been working on some stuff related to e-bikes, so I'll ask him. Yeah, just we're interacting with people more and more on them. And they're going faster and faster, but they're not considered vehicles yet, so.
Yeah, there's some legislation that just passed the last session that kind of helped to differentiate between the different classes of e-bikes. And then, as I understand it, anything that has a top speed of greater than 28 miles an hour and I think a wattage of greater than 750 is technically an e-motorcycle. And so that is maybe subject to motor vehicle law, whereas the other ones, you still have to be at least 16 years of age to operate it, but you don't have to be licensed. So I don't think those distinctions are maybe carrying through to a lot of buyers and maybe they just don't care. So anyhow.
28 is still fast.
It is
To be hit by something doing 28 miles an hour, it's,
especially how it happens.
yeah, yeah.
Just this morning, when I was walking the dog, I noticed how many of the kids, and they're not 16.
Yeah.
And they were in the street. And I
Yeah.
was concerned about that.
Are the scooters the same? Cause they've got the e-scooters now, and then have one little ball thing.
Oh, yeah.
Show devices,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those things can go pretty
Yeah.
fast too.
Yeah, so more to come on that. So I have. Anything else then? Stories, anecdotes, questions?
I do have one, just to be an encouragement. I was on a ride along recently where there were 3 officers helping a homeless man. And he was just kind of starting to get frustrated and didn't know what was gonna fall out there. And I'm standing with 3 officers and there's somebody just walking along 30th Street that just starts cursing at him and yelling, "Why are 4 officers here on one guy?" Like, I guess they're counting me as a cop now. And I guess that's only positive of it, but just the professional response. Johnson was there and he's like, "Hey, have a great day, sir. Have a great day." I mean, just, bless those that curse you. I think Jesus said that. And so that they lived that. And that was great to see.
Oh,
The
good.
professionalism in the middle of this crazy guy,
Yeah,
that was mocking them.
we've been talking about that a lot. Be the professional in the.
Yeah, they did that.
I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, well, that's all for this evening. We're adjourned.
6:32.
What's
Night, Jonathan.
I think it was 127 South
Yeah.
7th Street.
Just